Buenos días a todos. Muchas gracias por acompañarnos en este segundo día de nuestro Tecsoluciones 2022. Y bueno, de manera rápida les quiero comentar, bueno, la agenda del día de hoy. Bueno, tenemos la presentación de HDAnywhere, seguida por Screen Innovations, y cerramos el día de hoy con la presentación de Rotel. Aquí en el caso de Screen Innovations, les pido de favor que todas sus preguntas nos las hagan llegar en la aplicación que es del Q&A, y al término de la presentación, entre Justin y un servidor vamos a estar contestándole sus preguntas. Por otro lado, también les quiero dar una noticia. Para el viernes teníamos programado la primera sesión de Bowers & Wilkins, y por causas de fuerza mayor se está cancelando la sesión. Entonces, ya veremos qué podemos meter en ese tiempo, ¿no? Para aprovecharlo, o simplemente, bueno, pues veremos entre hoy y mañana que les demos el aviso, ya sea que podamos meter algo o arrancaríamos un poco más tarde, ¿no? Con la sesión de Rosam, que si mal no recuerdo arrancamos 10:30 de la mañana, ¿no? Entonces, pues nada más, nuevamente darles la bienvenida y pues muchas gracias por acompañarnos. Oscar.
Hola, muy buenos días a todos. Sergio, muchas gracias por apoyarnos con introducir el evento el día de hoy, en este segundo día de 4. Bueno, pues empecemos con nuestra primera sesión. Bueno, antes, perdónenme, déjenme les recuerdo que nuestra sesión será grabada y está siendo ya grabada en este momento. Entonces, bueno, nuestra primera sesión tendremos a Justin Fothergill. Es un experimentado profesional del sector audiovisual que desde 1986 ha ascendido en la industria sudafricana desde la venta al por menor a la distribución y al fabricante. Justin es director de competencia de marca de HDAnywhere. Es un fabricante de productos de video, audio y control de primera calidad con sede en el Reino Unido y actualmente reside en Sudáfrica. Justin, we're happy to have you. The room is yours.
Thank you very much. Good day, everybody, and welcome to this wonderful Wednesday. It is a pleasure to be here chatting to you today, and I hope you're all going to have an amazing session with the team at Tecso today. Thank you for your time to join and listen to what we have to say. We're very excited. So, especially for me, I am now in the UK, and this is our brand new studio facility that we're presenting to you from, and this is the first time we're getting to use it properly. So we're very excited to be presenting to you from our new studio space and to tell you a little bit more about some of the best products that we're doing at the moment. Let's quickly cover our agenda of what we're going to be doing today. We're going to obviously just give you a quick introduction to our company for those of you who don't know who we are. We're going to recap the most important products in our range. And then I'm going to talk about the importance of stacking, what stacking is, and we're going to talk about how we're expanding U-Control. I'm going to show you something that nobody in the world has seen us do yet, and that's only because ISE was postponed slightly. So we're going to show you something that we're only going to be showing at ISE, so we're quite excited about that too. So that's what we've got on our agenda. Let's talk a little bit about who HDAnywhere is. So we are a British-based company. We are the manufacturers of specialist distribution products and control software, if that's the simplest way I could put it. We've been in business now for over 15 years. We've managed to bring a line of products to market that have changed the way the industry treats video and audio distribution and what it is to be a company in that space. So we're a small, very focused company. We love what we do. We absolutely have probably the most passion for what we do, without a doubt. And that's a little bit of what we are. But to explain it better, the best way to describe what we have is we've evolved from being a distribution company into more of a home entertainment company. And that evolution, especially this year in 2022, is going to really start moving much more quickly. So we'll show you a little bit of what I mean about that at the end of this. But for now, I think the best thing to do is let's have a chat about our range. Let's take you on a quick journey to all our different products and what we do and what we can offer you. So thank you again for joining us today. And I can't tell you how excited I am to bring some of these products to you. Some of you have attended our training with Tecso already on a few of these products, but I really hope that from today you understand that we are a brand with a lot of difference, a lot of capability, and most importantly, we can give you options on site, options to deploy distribution solutions that are better value for money, that meet your clients' requirements and budgets, and are easy for you to integrate and install. I think that's going to be an exceptionally important part of what we're offering you. So talking about our products, let's start with our matrices, which are our most important products. We call a matrix an M-Hub here at HDAnywhere. So we have various series of M-Hubs. We have 3 series of M-Hubs. I'm going to start with the M-Hub U series. The M-Hub U series is a series of matrices that are designed to be the best possible value for money. We have 18 gigabits per second capability. We have the ability to mix HDMI and HD base T outputs to give you the most flexibility and capability. We've got a very elegant look and feel to the product. We've tried to keep it very simple, very elegant, and move all of the setup and capabilities of our machine onto our app and onto our web GUI, so that you don't need to clutter the front fascia with unnecessary buttons. But of course, also it helps to save cost because we're not putting on screens and displays and things you don't actually need and are never going to use. So this is our bread and butter range. We have this in 4x2, 4x4, and 8x8 versions. Okay. From a feature point of view, if you want to know the most unique selling points about the M-Hub S, the fact that it can support 18 gigabits per second input and output. All our display receivers are always powered. We have a web GUI for easy setup and usage. We have remote monitoring of the system using our cloud facility. And it's a complete package. All the hardware that you need to make this work is in the box. So that's a little bit about M-Hub U. Then our newest product, and one we're going to spend a little bit more time on after I've taken you over some of the products in the range, is the very exciting M-Hub S. As you can see, from a form factor point of view, it looks exactly the same styling-wise as the M-Hub U, but the difference is that we have a lot more capability built into the chassis. At the moment in M-Hub S, there is only the one model, and the S is what makes this stand out, hence the S, which is that it is all about stacking, and I'll be explaining that in more detail shortly. From a feature point of view, the M-Hub S does exactly what the M-Hub U does in many ways. We've got 18 gigabits per second capability. It's stackable though, so we can build larger matrices. We have video downscaling from 4K to 1080p for all the zones. We have 100 meters of output, and we have quite a lot of audio extraction. So the M-Hub S, as a family of products, is really taking what the M-Hub U does and putting some steroids into it, making it do just a little bit more. But I'll explain M-Hub S in a bit more detail shortly. Last but not least, our most stylish member of the family is our flagship, our Pro 2.0 series. And as you can tell by the name, Pro 2.0, this is the second generation of our professional series of matrices. The Pro 2.0 series is designed to satisfy the needs of the most serious installations that require a high level of connectivity and a lot of flexibility and functionality. So Pro 2.0 series, the features of Pro 2.0 series are that it has an incredibly powerful capability to manage audio, we support audio return channel, we support audio down mixing, we have 4K to 1080p downscaling, we have remote management of the system via the cloud now, so a lot more functionality for you as integrators. And on the 8x8 model, we can even distribute fast Ethernet, 10100 fast Ethernet along with the HD-based signal. So quite a lot of functionality. And the idea was for you as integrators to give you the most capability, especially because of the audio management, so audio return channel and analog audio down mixing. So Pro Series is for those premium projects where you have clients with a very high expectation of how the video and the audio are going to integrate. So in summary, we have MHub U series, we have MHub S series, we have MHub Pro 2.0 series. We also then have quite a popular product from us, a range of extenders. And extenders are bread and butter business for all of us. We all need them all the time. We have a variety of different extender models. We call our extenders XTND, extend. And we have a variety of models to cover what we believe to be most requirements. So we have 2K extender models. We have two models there, a 60 meter and 150 meter model. That should see you through most of your requirements. Our best seller of all our extenders is in fact the 2K 150 because it really suits what most people need. In 4K models, we have three models. We have a 40 meter model of 4K extender. We have a 40 meter model that can support audio return channel, which is of course becoming increasingly important in today's market. And then we have a 100 meter model for when you need long distance and still need to support 4K resolution. So we have those three 4K models. And then we have in the Extend family a splitter. The Extend 4K splitter essentially gives you the ability to take a 4K 18 gigabits per second signal and split it out over 40 meters each to 4 outputs over CAT. And once again, just like our matrices, our MHubs, the receivers are all powered by the transmitter. So you only need the one power supply. There's infrared passback, and there's also an HDMI loop out. So you can do quite a lot with that in terms of inexpensive video distribution. So in our core products, we've got the MHubs, which are matrices. We've got the extenders, which you use to obviously to extend signals, and sometimes using those two things in combination. All of our systems support POC, POH, PoE, whatever you want to call it. In other words, our receivers do not need power. All of our systems, all the infrared hardware that system supports, all that infrared hardware is in the box. So we come as a very complete kit. There's very little additional hardware you need to deploy an MHub system. With all of our MHub systems, we also have with all of our matrix, our MHub systems, we also have the U-Control, which is our own in-house control system. Now, many of you are going to be Crestron integrators or using some other third-party brand. And that's great because what we also have is possibly the best deep integration with those brands available. We have custom drivers for Crestron Home, for Control 4, for Savant, for RTI, that allow them to exploit our control system and send their commands through us to the displays and to the sources, which means much less hardware for you, much simpler setup for you, and the ability to offer the clients an amazing finished solution that incorporates us into your control brand. So you always have the choice with HDAnywhere of our control brand or being able to integrate very deeply with existing control brands. And I think that's exceptionally important in today's market. For those of you who are Crestron Home integrators, it's important to point out that there has recently been a new driver released by Ultimation that finally allows, Crestron has allowed this to happen. It finally allows Crestron Home to hijack our infrared system so that you can send IR commands and CEC commands through our MHubs, where CEC is available anyway, through our MHubs to control the displays and the sources. And again, that was something that wasn't unfortunately available for some time because of the limitations of Crestron itself, but they finally made it available. And from Ultimation, you can purchase that driver and now have very deep integration of HDAnywhere MHub, especially the MHub Pro 2.0 series with Crestron Home specifically. So very important to know that that is a capability that we have, we're very proud of. So that's all very well and fine. Out of these three products though, the newest one and possibly the most interesting one is the MHub S series. The MHub S series moves the goalposts of what we can do with a matrix and how big a system you can build using traditional technologies. So we talk about MHub S and the fact that it can stack. So what is stacking? Stacking is the ability for us to put one MHub on top of the next MHub on top of the next MHub and link them together to form one large matrix. And you can see in the image in front of you right now how we're able to then loop out. So we have these HDMI loop outputs for every single source input. There's a mirrored output for HDMI. And that means we can come into the first MHub, what we call the foundation MHub, and then continue looping out into the next one and the next one. So if I turn these around and you have a look at the back here, if this was a 2 MHub stack, we would have our source inputs coming in the bottom HDMIs, and then we would loop from the mirror output of each one of those source inputs out into the input of the next one. And if we were building more, we would obviously just run more of these connections. And so on the face of it, that's what stacking is, the ability to stack these MHubs on top of each other, these MHub S models, and build a larger matrix. Could be an 8x16, 8x24, 8x32, 8x48. Now, up to 48 displays, in other words, 5 MHub S's stacked together, we are able to also offer the most important aspect of any large matrix, which is control. We can do our U control. We can also offer deep integration with those brands that I mentioned, Crestron Home, Control4, Savant, RTI, and a few more. So we're building this multi-product stack, but it is still very controllable, and that's exceptionally important. We don't stop at 48 though. At 48 displays is where we stop in terms of being able to offer our own control system, which is U-Control, and which of course, very importantly, is free. But after 48 displays, we move into forcing you in a way to use control brands, but you can go up to 60, 70, 100 displays if you really wanted to. You can stack these products almost infinitely. So stacking allows you to meet those requirements for large residential applications. Stacking allows you to meet those requirements for multiple display locations like a sports bar or a pub or an office complex where we have a lot of displays and we need to be able to distribute signal to all of them. We need to be able to select any one of the 8 inputs to any one of those displays. And of course, most importantly, make it easy to control that large stack. Control is so important. So that then moves us on to why, if we understand what stacking is, it's about putting these matrices on top of each other and making a mechanical connection between them to build a large matrix. Great. Why is it important? Because it gives you flexibility. So stacking and gives you the ability to build these larger systems, but all of that ability is useless without control. And so we introduced a product called a zone processor. And the zone processor is a brand new line of products from us. And what zone processors do, and in this particular instance for a stack, you need a little product called a zone processor 1, a ZP1. It's a very simple little box. It's really just our control system in a standalone box. This is U-Control in a box. This becomes the master controller of a stack when you are using U-Control to control the stack. That's not a very expensive piece of product at all, but what it allows you to do is then use our free control system to control all the sources coming into the stack, all the displays connected to the stack, and you can control the MHubs themselves. So you can control everything using our U-Control platform. This is not a new platform. This is something we've developed and built over the last 6 years, 7 years, to become a very clean, powerful, and capable interface. But with zone processors, the first time we move that interface out of an MHub and into a standalone box. So when you're building a stack using U-Control, you're going to be having multiple MHubs and you're going to be using a zone processor, which essentially then becomes the master to control this MHub stack. So now that we understand a little bit more about what MHub S can do, and I've forgotten to mention, so I'm just going to reiterate, Every single one of the HD-based outputs can run to 100 meters. Every single one of these outputs can downscale from 4K to 1080p. We can support 18 gigabits per second of 4K content in and out across this entire system. So we have a fair whack of capability built into MHub-S that allows you to deliver a solution based on technologies you're probably already familiar with. Either you've done an HDAnywhere MHub before, it could have been one of the U series or one of the Pro series, or you've worked with HD-based before. Either way, if you've done anything in either of those spaces, building a larger system using MHub-S is going to be dead simple. The technologies are familiar because we're using HD-based. We're using our U-Control operating system. So both of those are established working technologies that are reliable. You don't have to go on IP courses. You don't have to go on expensive courses to understand video over IP. It's not a complicated technology. We're using tried and tested technologies that we all know and trust. And all we've done is, and that we're the only brand that can do this, is we've been able to bring together the abilities of HD-based. We've been able to add this stacking capability from a mechanical point of view. And of course, most importantly, we've added the power of control. And so the importance of stacking in your business potentially is it might help you to achieve certain projects at a better budget. It might be a whole new line of business for you. Some of you may not be taking on light commercial work. When you're asked to do a sports bar, you might go, yeah, it's not really my thing. Now you can, because we have a technology that's familiar to you, products that are familiar to you, and that are very easy to integrate and set up. So now you can take on those projects. You might also be able to go to existing clients and convince them or sell to them the idea of upgrading their systems, their current systems, whatever, to something better and more capable that includes a better level of control and automation, mind you, because MHub-S suddenly gives you the power to offer these scalable systems, these larger systems. So we're very excited about MHub-S. It's created a lot of interest globally for us. And in fact, I will tell you, in our product planning meetings for what we're planning for the next 3 years or 4 years in product development, that what we've learned already from MHub-S is heavily influencing the products you will see from HDAnywhere in the future. So it's a very exciting product for us. And I hope that when you look into it more deeply on our website, talking to the team at Tecso, that you understand the potential of what it can offer you and how it could very easily help you elevate your business to a totally new level, because MHub-S gives you the flexibility to build bigger systems, more capable systems. So all that's very well and fine, but as I've been speaking about, we speak quite a bit about control, and that then brings me to the conversation about our own control system. Now, we've built U-Control, and I'll give you an example of it here. We built U-Control into every single MHub that we've been making for quite some time now. And we're no longer the only people that have a certain level of control in a matrix, but we were certainly the first to do it properly. So if you can see on your screen on my iPad here, this is U-Control, essentially. There's quite a lot of reflection, I'm sorry, but this is U-Control. It's a simple, clean interface that allows you to control the sources plugged into the MHub. It allows you to control the MHub itself, and it allows you to control any display that's connected to an HD-based output. Now you can imagine we're building that capability into everything from our smallest MHub U, which is a 4x2, all the way up to our Pro 2.0 series. And of course, we've expanded that now to our MHub-S series. So especially with MHub-S, U-Control then becomes a very interesting selling point, if you will, because if you're approaching clients, and especially because of the pandemic, because of the financial pressure that the pandemic has put on corporate and commercial clients, many of them simply are not going to be allocating budget in the way that they used to be for expensive distribution and control systems. So remember, with any MHub that you sell or buy, that what you're actually getting is a video distribution product that also incorporates a control product, but you're getting that for the price of just a video distribution product. That's really important. And it's a fundamental tactic that we exploit against many of our competitors, because if you want the level of control that we can offer from a video matrix, you almost always have to add a third-party control system. You have to add a controller of some sort. You have to add some sort of remote control or other device as an interface to that controller. You can use the apps, of course, but some of them come with subscriptions. And if you want remote management, for example, like we offer on the MR Pro 2.0, well, then you've got to pay for that as well. So we've got a lot of that capability built in, and it's all for free. So our U-Control capability changes the goal, changes the game in that you can look for projects or take on projects where traditionally you may very well have wanted to put in a control solution on top of that, but you might just be costing yourself out of that project. It might just be that the client has no need for anything other than just AV control. They need our distribution hardware. They need to be able to make it easy to work the system. They don't understand what that means, but they understand that they want it to be simple. And so our U-Control system suddenly becomes this very cost-effective but very effective way of offering a high level of integration and control for those users who aren't necessarily integrating into a whole home control interface or whole building control interface system. So U-Control as a sales tool for you as integrators is probably one of the most important things that you could use from HDAnywhere to help sell the HDAnywhere hardware. The other thing about U-Control that I must add is we evolved U-Control. Originally, it was just an end user interface. It was just a user interface, in fact, when we first did it. But now U-Control has also been designed to help you, the integrator, to set up our systems more quickly, more efficiently on site. So the idea is that you don't have to have a laptop open or any specialized software other than our app, available for free on Apple and Android, to take a product out of the box, an MR product out of the box, and have it fully commissioned and set up, working at whatever level you need it to work at, just by using our U-Control app. And that was done very much to save you time and effort and complexity on site. And when we're saving you time on site, we're saving you real money, because that is putting less hours into doing something that should be easy to do. And we've made it exceptionally easy to do. So much so that you can use our app to set up a 8x48 matrix. And you could do it from start to finish with a full U-Control suite, probably in under half an hour. That is not easy to do with anybody else's hardware or software. And the great thing is that it's our hardware, it's our software. There's no need for third party getting involved unless you absolutely need or want them to. So we're not talking, we have to go through network switches. We don't have to do anything else that's possibly going to make that journey more complicated. So MRBS, our newest family of products, is a series that we hope will really give you a lot of opportunity to take on projects that possibly we couldn't have helped you fill before, or where it was too complicated, or you have to use very expensive technologies. For those of you who are in Crestron space, now that we have deeper integration with Crestron Home specifically, it's well worth mentioning, because I've seen this for myself back in my home country of South Africa, and now that I'm here in the United Kingdom, I'm seeing this here too. The Crestron video system is unequivocally one of the best on the market. No argument there, but it comes at a price. If you want that Bentley level of performance, it comes at a Bentley price. That's the long and the short of it. And that sometimes is going to put you in a position where it might make you too expensive for a particular project, where they can benefit from Crestron in every other way. But the addition of the NVX or any other type of Crestron delivery system suddenly pushes the entire project budget too high. Remember now that we can integrate more deeply with Crestron Home and give you a very cost-effective alternative to getting video and now control points to every single zone in the property. So that's just worth remembering. A little bit of a taste of what's coming. I said to you in the beginning that we're going to show you something that is a taste of where we're going as HDAnywhere. That was supposed to be shown at ISE in the beginning of this year, but the ISE got postponed in Spain until May. And so you're going to get the benefit of getting a little bit of a taste. Not everything we're showing at ISE. So if you are coming to Europe to ISE, please do. And you'll see some more very cool stuff. But it's more about giving you an understanding of where we're evolving our brand and why this year is so important to us. So we are introducing zone processors, right? We've got two models of zone processor now. We've got the ZP1 and we've got a ZP5. So there's two models of processor. These are U-control processors in a box. They can be used on their own. You do not have to have any other HDAnywhere hardware to make these products work. These products have three modes of operation. In the first hand, it's simply a U-control control system. Right? You put it on your network. This particular model, the ZP1, has a single infrared output. It has a single RS-232 output, and it has IP connectivity. They have Wi-Fi connectivity, and they have LAN cable connectivity. Great. So from this, I could use the ZP1, and I could control a single device, most likely if I was using infrared or serial. I could control a single device and just now suddenly have control over a product that previously I didn't have control over or couldn't integrate into a system. The same goes for the ZP5, except with the ZP5, the difference is we have more sockets. We have 5 infrared sockets. We also have an HDMI CEC socket now, as well as the serial and the IP. Again, this is also Wi-Fi connectivity and LAN connectivity. Great. The first mode then, you control in a box. Be able to control, in this case, possibly an entire rack, and a media room, a home cinema. You can control that using this and our U-control app. In this case, it's more for individual devices or single devices. You can have a combination of these mixed around the property. That's mode number 1. Mode number 2, just like our M-hubs, there are drivers for control, for Crestron Home, for Control 4, for RTI and Savant, that expose all of these control ports in the software of those systems. So a bit like Global Cache, for example, you can now have these items dotted around the network and add them to your Crestron project, add them to your Control 4 project, and hijack our ports and our system to expand your control network. Third function of these products is to become master controllers of a rack, of a stack, at least, not a rack, of a stack. In that case, and please remember this, if you are building an MRBS stack and you want to use U-control, you need one of these. Because the U-control built into these M-hubs is only designed to control the M-hub itself. It's not designed to control a whole series of M-hubs. That's what these do. But I will give you this piece of advice. If you are ever using a zone processor to control a stack using U-control, do not use the ZP5. Do not waste your money here. Buy the ZP1. And the reason for that is very simple. When it is in master controller mode, all of these additional ports get disabled. So there's really no need to spend the money on a ZP5 when it isn't going to do anything that ZP1 can't do when it comes to controlling a stack. But the U-control built into zone processors is a little bit different to the U-control we build into all our M-hubs. We've had the time to learn and expand and use different chipsets in these products. And so what we have for you is something interesting. We are introducing right now the beginnings of the ability to do IP control of products. Could be PDUs, could be a lighting system, could be anything that has an API that we can use to control. So for products that are API based, we are then able to offer control of certain products. We are also able to now be controlled by certain products. So for example, if you're familiar with a brand of lighting called Rayco switches can now trigger us. You can trigger activities and events in us through a zone processor. You can control your video distribution. You can make switching selections. You can activate one of our sequences or scenes from a Rayco system. By the same token, we can control Rayco. We can trigger and activate Rayco scenes. And for your viewing pleasure today, what we have done here is have a quick demonstration of IP light control, this time using a very standard brand of lighting just for this demonstration, which is Philips Hue. So we have this little lighting system up here, and we've programmed in a simple little scene where we have the light come on, go to green, and go back off. That is us, a video distribution brand, doing IP control of lighting. I can't tell you too much more about some of the more exciting products that we're going to be launching in May or showing in May at ISE, but ladies and gentlemen, stay tuned to Tecso and HDAnywhere, because we are going to be moving the goalpost for what you think a video distribution brand is, because we are, as I said to you right from the beginning, we are evolving beyond distribution to complete home entertainment. We can offer you interesting control solutions. 80% of the functionality of an AV control brand for 80% less money? It's quite possible. So stay tuned, and we'll keep you posted, and you'll be seeing more of what we can do with IP control and integration with third-party products into our U-Control control system. So now that's the end of me talking about products. We're going to move over to a question and answer session, and let's see if you have anything that I can help you with to understand our brand better.
Thank you, Justin. I have a question right here. HDAnywhere works with Crestron Home?
Absolutely. Is that the question?
Yeah.
So we work with Crestron Home at 2 levels. We have, and these drivers are available from Automation. I will send the link, but I think most of you who work with Crestron will know the company Automation and the drivers that they make for Crestron. They're particularly good. So we have 2 drivers available for Crestron integration. The first is purely for control of our M-Hubs, to be able to manage the switching and the source selection and the audio return channel if it's an M-Hub Pro 2.0. The second most recent driver that's available from Automation now exposes all our control ports to Crestron systems. So for example, I'm just going to steal this M-Hub U 4x3+1. So on this M-Hub, specifically the source IR ports, and at the end of these HD base T lines on the receivers, the display IR ports will now be available for Crestron to use to send commands to. So the way Crestron does it is a little different to everybody else. You program those commands into our system, and Crestron triggers our system to send that command. So not just works with, but works very well with Crestron Home, I'm happy to tell you.
Okay, thank you. ¿Alguna otra pregunta? Aprovechemos ahorita aquí a Justin. Bueno, en lo que están formulando su pregunta, les quiero comentar que, bueno, Justin, en lo particular, es todo un guerrero. Ahora sí que en plena pandemia estuvo muy mal y ahorita está, se puede decir que casi al 100% bien. I just mentioned, Justin, that you are a warrior about the pandemic because you were very bad, right?
Thank you. It was a journey I don't recommend to anybody, and COVID is something to take very seriously. I'm very grateful to the good Lord above and to everybody who supported, and I survived. You can see a little bit of the scars maybe on your cameras of that journey, but yeah, the secret is you never give up, no matter what.
Ok, aquí hay otra pregunta. De parte de David Hernández, que si hay alguna página de internet de la marca. Sí, David, hay una, puedes buscarla como HDAnywhere. Hay una versión en UK, hay una versión en .com, pero sí lo encuentras en internet. Hay otra pregunta que dice Enrique Solís. ¿Tendría entonces que funciona como un cerebro de control? No entiendo muy bien tu pregunta, Enrique. igual si me la formulas un poquito diferente, a ver si, ¿cómo se llama? La podemos resolver. Bruno Belsazo, ¿existe un producto de extensión de video para una? Sí, creo que sí, Bruno, sí existe, ¿no? Es cosa de que lo revisemos. Ah, mira, ahí te pusieron ya la página, David. HDAnywhere.com. ¿Alguna otra pregunta? ¿Todo muy claro? Que hay una pregunta, dice, ¿is any program to do any, is any software or program from HDAnywhere to do a virtual installations to understand the devices? Is any demo? I think that there is a demo, but there is a demo only in the
You
for the
control.
app.
So
You
yes,
control.
it's a good question. We don't have any virtualization or any virtualization programs. We are using this new studio to create a lot of more interactive, more live content on how this works, how that works. So in the next 3 months or so, you're going to see a lot more content come out from us for that. The demo facility that we do have is built into uControl. So for example, if you want to understand how our interface works, you can go right now and download the HDA uControl app for free. And because you're integrators, it should be easy for you to find under the menu, go to settings and find our demo mode and pop that into demo mode, and it'll give you a mock example of a premium installation, and it would give you a very good idea of how our uControl works. And in fact, the reason we built that demo mode was actually so that you could use it as a sales tool, as an integrator. You can use it as the sales tool to show your clients what it would look like to control a virtual video distribution system from HDAnywhere. At the moment, that's the only virtualization that we've got, is the demo mode in uControl. But we're, as I said, we're going to be delivering a lot more content that will be available on our YouTube channel, on our website, and also from Tecso. That will be a lot more practical in terms of showing you how our products work, how to set them up. And we also have an online training academy that you're welcome to join. If you register as an HDA Pro, you have access to that academy for free. So if you're not registered as an HDA Pro yet, go to our website at HDAnywhere.com and register, and then join our academy. And we are constantly posting the most popular training sessions into that academy for you to do at your own time.
Okay, thank you, Justin. There's another question, que si es compatible con Control 4. Sí, sí es compatible con Control 4.
Yeah, very compatible.
Question is, works with Control 4?
Absolutely.
The answer is yes, absolutely.
Yes. In fact, we were the first, and I think the only brand that can still do it properly, brand to be able to integrate audio return channel with Control 4 because of our deep driver. So we have an exceptionally good driver written by Chow Mein that integrates us with Control 4. So yes, if you're a Control 4 integrator, we are probably the best video distribution system you can use in the world at the moment.
Okay. Aquí Enrique Solís, si me refiero a que sistematizar por sus características puede sustituir un cerebro de control en instalaciones para bares. Bueno, recordemos aquí las matrices, de que tú puedes manejar la parte del video, ¿no? En el caso aquí, por ejemplo, de instalaciones de bares, restaurantes, o sea, sí. O sea, tú puedes mandar una señal, no sé, de el Sky a cierta tele, ¿no? O a cierta zona, o, no sé, algún video, una transmisión de video por internet, o simplemente una película a otra zona, ¿no? ¿Alguna otra pregunta? Muy bien, pues Justin, thank you very much again for your time.
Always a pleasure. Thank you, everybody. Thank you to everybody in Mexico and Latin America for attending. Thank you to the team at Tecso. Have a beautiful day. Contact your team if you need any other questions answered, and we'll be here to support them and you. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Sergio and Carla and Oscar.
Have a good day. Thank you. Bye.
Thank you, and you too. Nice, dude. Did somebody come take pictures while we were busy?
Bueno, continuamos con nuestra siguiente sesión y para comenzar pues voy a presentar a las personas que nos van a estar apoyando en esta sesión. Primero tenemos a Sasha, que es el director de capacitación para Screen Innovations y ha pasado los últimos 10 años dando vida al audio y video y a la tecnología para el público. Su objetivo es hacer que cada sesión de capacitación sea atractiva, educativa y memorable, mientras hace todo lo posible para ayudar a sus clientes a crecer el negocio. También tendremos a Shannon, que trabaja en Screen Innovation desde noviembre de 2007. Estudió en la Universidad de Texas, en Austin, y tiene habilidades de investigación, redes sociales, gestión de proyectos, gestión de cuentas, desarrollo de nuevos negocios, ventas internacionales y desarrollo de productos. Entonces, Shannon, Sasha, thank you for joining us. We're ready when you are.
Oh, of course. Thank you so much for having us. And wow, what an amazing presentation that we just had. And Justin has such a calming presence. I'm going to be the complete opposite. So I'm so sorry that you're going to have to listen to this. But for those of you that are going to be sticking around, I promise you, I'm going to make it worth your while. My name is Sasha Osadchy. I'm the Director of Training and Facilitation here at Screen Innovations. And the good news is I'm not the only one that's here. Shannon, would you like to say a word or two?
Hi, guys. How are you? Thank you so much for joining us today.
Well, that was definitely a word or two or 8. There you go. And Shannon, what do you do for our lovely company here?
I'm the International Sales Manager over at Screen Innovations. I've been with the company since 2007, and I'm here to help you guys with any questions that you might have today.
Absolutely. Shannon's here to help. I'm here to help. Tecso is here to help. And also, our good friend Helma is here to help as well. Helma, will you tell the audience who you are? You look so lovely in this photo.
Hi, I hope you can hear me. It's a little bit noisy here.
We can.
But I've been a sales representative for many brands, including Screen Innovations for, I think, since 2013. So that's a long time. And I've worked with Tecso also for even longer.
Fantastic. So, of course, between all of us here, if you have any questions, feel free, type in the Q&A. We'll leave some time towards the end as well to answer any questions that you have. But listen, we have around 40 minutes together. You're taking time away from your lives. I'm going to make this worth your while. So number one, we're going to make sure that I'm going to help you find as many opportunities to grow your business. And a lot of it has to do with understanding screen materials. There are so many of them out there. We're going to set the foundation so you know exactly what's going to work in what environment. We'll then go over our form factors. We have motorized screens. We have fixed screens. What do you want to do and why? We'll talk about that. But at the end, you're going to see that there's so many screen materials. We're going to simplify everything with our screen material wizard, which takes all the guesswork out of how to choose the perfect screen every single time. So I see some familiar faces in the audience. Well, welcome back. I'm happy I didn't scare you off too much. For those of you that are relatively new, let me introduce you to Screen Innovations. We were founded back in 2003 here in Austin, Texas, and we specialize in making high performance projection screens as well as form factors, motorized frames, motorized screens, and with anything that we've ever come out with. there's always been a very simple but specific approach. Let's make sure that we get as much feedback as we can from people just like you, people that have been in the industry for a long time, and solve as many issues as possible so that when you give your client this product, they are absolutely wowed. What put us on the map happened back at around 2008. For those of you that have been doing audio video for a while, you remember that back in those days, if you wanted to have that beautiful immersive experience, what kind of room environment did you have to have? That's right, a completely dark, dedicated media room. But if you had some light, it really wouldn't be a great experience. That's when we helped pioneer ambient light rejection technology with the Black Diamond, which proved that it almost didn't matter what kind of lighting conditions you had, you could still give your clients an amazing experience. And now let's fast forward to about 2014, 2015. What you're seeing here is pretty interesting. NASA came to us and said, I don't know if this was the exact dialogue, but something along the lines of, hey, yo, screen innovations. They're very casual at NASA, as you can tell. Our cosmonauts floating around the International Space Station, they're using 13-inch monitors. Yes, like what you're seeing over here. 13-inch monitors to watch movies, communicate with ground control, and also try to maintain an emotional connection with your family. Think about that for a second. They're up there anywhere between 6 to 12 months straight. This is a very difficult way to maintain that connection with your loved ones. So we got to work and we came out with the very first screen that is in outer space. And I believe we still have monopoly of screens that are currently in outer space, which is quite interesting. But of course, the vast majority of the problems that we solve are here local. And of course, everything we do at Screen Innovations is here in Austin, Texas. Our manufacturing is here, our production is here, our quality control is here, and we want to make sure we can give you the best possible experience. And so with that in mind, let's make sure that you understand the fundamentals of screen materials. In fact, there are 3 major types of materials that you will run into. You have your white screens, you have your gray screens, and then you have your ambient light rejection screens, which we'll just call ALR from this point forward. If you've ever dealt with projection ever, I guarantee you've dealt with a white screen. And this is the industry standard and completely perfect in a totally dark environment. Have a dedicated media room, you painted the walls and ceilings black, your carpet is black, you have total light control, a white screen, perfect in this environment. However, the next evolution of screens were gray screens. Now, here's the thing. Gray screens, they're really clever because a lot of people will look at a gray screen and go, oh, the contrast is better than a white screen because the black levels on a gray screen are darker than on a white screen. And that's true. The black levels on a gray screen are darker than the black levels on the white screen. However, the white levels on a gray screen are also darker. So white screens have better white levels, gray screens have better black levels. But as far as the contrast goes, it's about the same. But listen, you take a white screen or a gray screen and you put it into a dedicated media room, oh my goodness, it looks absolutely stunning. And in case you're wondering, yes, this is a real screen of ours that is 16 feet wide and 9 feet tall. Very, very big. But in a dark environment, white and gray screens look amazing. The problem is when we take a white and gray screen and put it into a room that has a lot of ambient light. Ladies and gentlemen, I did not edit this photo. This is real. My favorite part about this is that somebody put this together in their showroom. They sat back, folded their arms, raised their legs, and went, yeah, this is what the world wants to see. This will definitely sell projection. So if you ever have people that tell you that you can't do projection when there's a lot of light, I don't blame them. This is what they have seen, but it's because the wrong material was chosen for this environment. So white and gray screens, when it's dark, perfect. However, anytime there's going to be any amount of light in the room, direct light, indirect light, ambient light, automatically recommend an ALR screen, ambient light rejection screen. This will reject the light or redirect the light to improve the contrast. So the black levels are extra dark, the white levels are extra bright, and you have that true contrast. Contrast is exactly what you are looking for. On the left, you have a white and gray screen, very low contrast. On the right, you have an ALR screen, and even with a lot of light, things look excellent. Brightness, although kind of important, is secondary to contrast, because on the left, that's bright, but there is no contrast. You are absolutely looking for contrast, which is why if a customer says, hey, I want to use this projector and I want to use this material, is it going to work? Your first answer should be, I don't know, because you need to know the room environment. This is the most critical piece of the puzzle. Without understanding the room environment, there is no way to choose the perfect screen material and no way to choose the right projector. The room environment is the most critical thing. Almost think of it this way. If you're going to be racing someone and you have, let's say, a Lamborghini, so wonderful, and I have a Ford F-150 pickup truck, your instinct might be that the Lamborghini is going to win. And I agree, but we're making a very big assumption. Why are we assuming that we are just turning left all day long on the racetrack? If that's the case, of course the Lamborghini is going to win. But if the race means we are going off-road, then the pickup truck is the right choice. You have to understand the racetrack before you can pick the perfect car and the right driver. You have to understand the room environment before you choose the right screen material and pair it with the right projector, which is why when you tell your client or ask your client, how much light is there going to be? And they say there is going to be some light, automatically recommend an ALR or ambient light rejection screen. And of course, the industry leading ALR material is still the black diamond. This is what put us on the map. This is what pioneered ambient light rejection. It is the best performing ALR screen in the industry, rejecting upwards of 90% of ambient light in the space. It rejects light from both the horizontal and vertical axis. So no matter where the light is coming from, things can look absolutely stunning. And as you can see, there's some beautiful windows there, light coming through, yet the image looks excellent. It's 8K rated, so as projection technology gets better and prices go down, it'll be ready for it. It can go up to 150 inches on the diagonal in 69. And keep in mind, it's for the fixed frames only. But when your clients just want the absolute best performing ALR screen in the industry, nothing will beat the Black Diamond. However, the Black Diamond is not the only option we have. Next in line, we have the Slate, also a phenomenal ALR material, about 2/3 the performance of the Black Diamond, which is excellent, but the Slate can go huge, up to 220 inches on the diagonal in 69. It's also 8K rated, but what's really nifty about the Slate, yes, I said nifty, I was born in the 80s, this is available both in motorized or fixed. So the Black Diamond, fixed frames only, but the Slate can do motorized or fixed. So Black Diamond, best performing. Slate, next in line, and these are perfect for traditional projectors. You know, the one that's mounted from the ceiling, things that are shining like this. But here's the thing that you need to know. Ultra short throw projectors are becoming more and more common. Number one, finally, they're not $20,000 for one, which helps. And number two, not every customer wants to have a projector floating in the air, especially in the bedroom. It may not look the nicest. So ultra short throw projectors are becoming more common because when you choose the right AV furniture, you can put it in and it fully disappears. But here's the thing to note. The way light comes out of an ultra short throw projector is at an angle like this. And what the Black Diamond and Slate will do, it'll look at that light and go, oh, ambient light, and reject it. So if you are using an ultra short throw projector, don't do the Black Diamond or Slate, but instead we created a specific material, a specific ALR material designed for ultra short throw projectors, simply called the short throw material. And here's what's fancy about it. The light that comes from the bottom of the projector is reflected back into the viewer's eyes. However, the rest of the light from the sides, the light from above, is rejected. So again, if you need ALR and you're using an ultra short throw projector, make sure specify it with the short throw material. So to recap, anytime there's going to be light in the space, recommend an ALR screen. But if your clients say, listen, it's going to be a dedicated media room, it's going to be dark all the time, then at this situation, white and gray is perfect. In fact, our Pure is one of our most popular white screens, and you can also get this as a gray screen. So if you need the positive gain, which makes the image a bit brighter, go for the Pure White 1.3. If you need the negative gain version to make the overall image a bit darker, go for the Pure Gray 0.85. If you're not sure which one to do, that's okay. When I show you our screen material wizard, it will take the guesswork out of everything. Keep in mind with the Pure, there's an ultra wide viewing angle, so you can sit absolutely anywhere, and this can do up to 8K resolutions. However, if you need a white or gray screen and you have to go really big, then go for the Solar. Like the Slate, can do up to 220 inches on the diagonal in 16:9 and can do 4K resolutions. So to recap, white and gray, perfect if you have a dark environment, but if there is going to be light, recommend an ALR screen. And to round out front projection, you may run into people that want to hide their speakers behind the screen without compromising the sound quality. Now, this is important because if you do a normal screen and you hide the speakers, it's going to sound a bit like this. It's not bad, but the sound is being muffled by the screen. So we can get what's called an AT or acoustically transparent material that allows the sound to travel through the screen, engulfing your audience with that beautiful sound quality. So when the single most important thing for your clients is sound quality, the Maestro is the best thing that we offer. It's also the only woven material that we have, and it can do 4K resolutions. However, the good news is we can also make the Pure, we can make the Slate, and even another one of our white materials, the Unity, with AT properties. So this way, if you are hiding speakers behind the screen, go for a acoustically transparent or AT material. That way, your audience will get the very best performance. So a good handful of front projection stuff, but we also have a few rear projection options. Now, for most of the part, rear projection is more commonly used in the commercial space, but I'll also show you one of them that is very popular on the residential side. But if you're ever dealing with a storefront and they want to do dynamic advertising, why not give them the black diamond film, which is what you're seeing over here. This is not a poster, but the black diamond film is applied just like window tint on glass. It has, when it's not on, it has like a dark gray frosted look to it. And that way you have the projector behind it and you can do dynamic advertising. And true to the name, the black diamond film does have ALR properties. So just like in a storefront, whenever there's a lot of light, this will still show off really nicely. Another rear projection material we have is the Flex Glass. Incredibly flexible, incredibly durable. We ship it to you on a roll, and we can do all kinds of really cool shapes. 360s, S-curves, there's a perfect edge blend. You can use regular projectors, ultra short throw projectors, and you know what's also kind of cool about the Flex Glass? Well, if you are a fan of Star Trek, you might look in the background, and in Picard, they are actually using the Flex Glass. Yes, our Flex Glass as part of their computer back there. So obviously the video is playing right there. You can kind of see some stuff in the background, but realistically, here's what it is. So it has some really unique applications. It looks absolutely stunning. Now, I'm going to be honest. I'm not sure how many of your residential clients are going to have the Star Trek Enterprise replicated in their home. I understand, but check out this rear projection material, which is called the 360. And what's unique about this? It's technically rear projection, but you can have the projector either behind or in front of the screen, and you get a near perfect image on both sides, which is great. So maybe like as an example here on the patio, when you're sitting on the patio, you can have the image on one side, and then when you go to the pool, you go to the projector, hit reverse, and it flips the image. Just be mindful, if you're watching football, you might think your team is winning when in fact they are losing. That's the only drawback here, so just be careful of that. The other thing to note is that the 360 is technically a white material. So if it is completely dark, it's going to look absolutely stunning. But just like any other white or gray screen, if there is going to be a lot of light in the environment, the image will look a little bit faded. So that's the one important thing to note about the 360. So we have a whole bunch of materials. Now, let me give you a few tips and tricks on how we can maximize performance. And the first part has to do with the viewing angles. This is very important because this shows you where you can sit while still having a great image. When you take a look at a white material, a gray material, or that short throw material, you have an ultra wide viewing angle. You can be sitting anywhere and things will look excellent. However, because of how the Black Diamond and Slate are designed, they will have a smaller viewing angle than a white screen, a gray screen, or the short throw material, which is why if you do the positive gain version of the Black Diamond or Slate, you will maximize the viewing angle. That's why positive gain with ALR is such a popular combination to give you that wider viewing angle. And on that screen material wizard, we'll go through all of that so you know exactly what to expect. Here's one more thing to be mindful of. And although this can technically happen with any material, it's really only relevant for the Black Diamond and Slate. Hot spotting is what happens when a projector is a little bit too close to the material. So as an example, as you look towards the middle of the screen, it's a lighter blue. But as you make your way towards the outsides, it's more of a dark royal blue. So there's a very complicated formula that I hope all of you brought your graphing calculators for. Here's how you eliminate hot spotting. You take the screen width in inches, multiply that by 1.5, and that is your minimum throw distance of the projector in inches. So if you have a 100-inch wide screen, multiply that by 1.5. So therefore, the projector must be a minimum of 150 inches away from the material. Again, probably only going to be relevant for the Black Diamond or Slate. And in our screen material wizard, this will also give you all of this information. So don't worry about memorizing this. And then finally, why would a client want to get an ALR screen if things are totally dark? Because as we talked about, white and gray, perfect when things are dark. But something worth noting is that white and gray screens will take the light and then just redirect it in every direction. So as an example here, you can see the light hitting the floor. You can see the light from the screen going to the ceiling. But the issue is that the light that goes to the floor will then also reflect back onto the screen, which does make the image appear a little bit less perfect. So with an ALR material, it will either minimize or completely eliminate that glowing effect, giving you that really dark room, which gives you the best possible image. So if customers say, well, why get an ALR screen if there's no light? It's to minimize the glowing effect, which makes the image look as beautiful as possible. So hopefully this gives you a nice understanding, a good foundation of the screen materials, what to use in what environment, and some tips and tricks. Then we have to figure out what is the perfect form factor for your clients. And what we wanted to make sure is to have something for every environment, whether it's motorized, whether it's fixed. So we have a really nice assortment across the board. But if you are wondering what we are doing that's totally unique to the industry, here are some of the things that we do to our screens. And this is all about giving you long-term durability, which gives your customers long-term satisfaction. The first thing that we do has to do with the tab tensioning. That's how the screen maintains its aspect ratio and shape over time. We cut the tab tensioning directly from the material. And what that means, as the material gets rolled up and stays in the housing, that roll is perfectly uniform. The industry's tab tensioning, it's an external component that they add to the screen. It works, but the problem is once things get rolled up, the roll is no longer uniform. So if you've ever had a client that has ever complained about little lines or indentations or little divots in the material, it is likely because of the way the industry handles tab tensioning. Or it could also be about the way the industry does their borders. They paint their borders, but we print our borders. It's a small little thing. However, with printing, the border is going to be even thinner, meaning that once things get rolled up, again, you have that uniformity. Additionally, if you ever need to readjust the drop on the field, you can do so. And not only can you easily do it, but it doesn't damage the tensioning over time. So all of these things were created to make sure that over time, the experience was great. Your clients may not see these things, but know that we're taking care of all the details so you don't have to worry about it. So then, knowing that we have these differentiators, let's get into our specific styles. We have our solo lineup, we have our moto lineup, and we have our 0G. But by far, the most popular style on the residential side is the solo. Has a really small, clean form factor. It actually is it's designed to disappear into the window. And one of the reasons this is so popular is because it has 3 power options. Yes, we can do line voltage. Sure, we can do low voltage, but this is the only motorized screen in our lineup that also has that rechargeable lithium-ion battery. Very similar to Apple's MagSafe charger. So you just get the charging cable in the area and it will automatically charge. Of course, we ship it to you fully charged. You can expect to get about 1.5 to 2 years per charge. We ship a charger with it. And it only takes about 4 to 6 hours to charge from 0 to the end. So think about your customers that are not pre-wired. In the past, there's not much you can do. Now with this rechargeable battery, excellent. You can now put a projector in any single room, pair it with an ambient light rejecting screen, and there you go. There's your answer. But additionally, we can do the solo as a standard roll or as a reverse roll. So why would somebody want to do the reverse roll? Well, their standard roll means the material is unrolling close to the wall, but maybe your client has a television mounted to the wall that they don't want to get rid of. Or maybe you're doing a commercial space, higher education, where there's a whiteboard or a blackboard that if you do the standard roll, the material will hit. So by doing the reverse roll, the material will unroll in front of the wall, giving you the clearance for anything that's there. So that way, when they do want to have that big screen experience, there it is. And then if they want to go back to whatever they were doing, go ahead, roll it back up. So you have this option as well. Speaking of options, we want to make sure that you have the right brackets. Now, these brackets are so ridiculously incredible. If you have installed screens before and you've never installed the Solo Pro 2, I think you're going to love this. Check it out. On the bracket, there is a hook, just like you're seeing right here. On the back of the screen, the Solo, there is a slot that hooks onto the bracket. Let me just get this out here real quick. A slot that hooks onto the bracket like this. Let's go ahead and get this open as well. Okay. Bracket just like this. Then, once you're happy with the positioning, you have this lever and you're done. That's it. It will, without any exaggeration, take you longer to unbox, to unwrap, than it will to mount. Time is money. Think about how much less you now have to charge for labor when you have something like this. That comes standard with the screen. But if you do want to go and have it flown from the ceiling, we have the Decora ceiling bracket, Decora flown kit. We have the zero gap wall bracket. So that way it's flush against the wall. So either anything you need, we have the bracket style for you. And then As far as what the Solo Pro 2 can do, up to 160 inches on the diagonal in 16:9. And we can also do 16:10, although on the residential side, 16:9 is the most common. That's your everyday content. Netflix, Hulu, anything that you want. We have the slate. We have the short throw material. So you have your ALR options. You have the white. You have the gray. You have the 360. And you can choose between white or black. So the Solo Pro 2 gives you a lot of customization. But we also have the entry-level version, which is the Solo 2. It's going to look very similar. Same form factor, same size, same maximum size, same aspect ratios, but for the color option, only the clear anodized. And then for the material, only the white and the gray. So if this is going into a dedicated media room, of course, it's going to be great because white and gray screens perform at their best in a dark environment. But if your client mentions that there is going to be some light in the space, we really should recommend the Solo Pro 2 because that's where you can get your ambient light rejection technology. So the Solo, really, really nice, really clean, and in fact, also very lightweight. In fact, I believe a 100-inch Solo, when everything is shipped, is like 60 pounds. So very easy to transport from A to B. But I would say that the 5 and 3 series motorized, these are more commonly used in higher education, in commercial spaces, when the priority is just going as big as possible. There is no battery option here, but we can do low or line voltage. So you do have those choices. Now for the mounting, we can do the external mount, but the flush mount, oh, it looks so good. It's just tucked away into the ceiling. And whenever it's retracted, it just goes and disappears away. And when we talk about big, I mean, 160 isn't too bad, but the 5 series motorized can go up to 200 inches on the diagonal in 16:9. We can do lower line voltage. And as you can see, for ALR, we have the slate, and then we have the pure, and we have the rear pro. So we have the 5 series motorized, and then we have the 3 series motorized. Doesn't quite get to 200 inches, but 184 is still quite big. And the big difference, only the solar white and the solar gray. So in a dedicated media room, this will look great because white and gray, perfect in a dark environment. However, if there is going to be light in the space, and there very frequently is in higher educations, conference rooms, boardrooms, go for the 5 series motorized. That's where you get your ALR materials. So the Solo lineup is great for residential, very small form factor. The 5 and 3 series motorized, great if you just want to go really, really big. And then we have the 0G, which is absolutely awe-inspiring. It effectively just kind of floats there in the air and allows you to really take back the room. It somehow, it's the center of attention, but at the same time, it's not, because we don't have that black masking at the top. We are not the only manufacturer that makes this style of screen. Of course, this is called a cable crawling screen. But what we do that is unique is with what we do with the cable. Most of the industry, they'll use a steel cable. And steel is fine, don't get me wrong, but steel tends to fray and degrade over time. But our owner is actually a really huge fan of kiteboarding. And there is a very specific material that is used in that hobby, and it's called Dyneema, which is incredibly strong. In fact, much stronger than steel. So we started using that and realized that not only is it strong, not only can you customize the color, but because of how strong it is, you can do close to a 16-foot drop. Yeah, so think about it. The wire unrolls for 16 feet and then the screen will show up. So think about the tallest ceiling you've ever dealt with, and likely this can accommodate it. And as far as the weight, substantially lighter than the industry solutions. Now, I'm not saying this is lightweight. I can't bench press this, nor can I bench press anything, quite frankly. I'm very frail, very weak. But the biggest size 0G is around 100, at 160 inches, it's 250 pounds. The industry solution is around 1,000 pounds. So think about how many more installers you have to out there. Think about the fact that there's a higher likelihood of things potentially going wrong. So we tried to make it easier to install and give you more options, which is why on the color, it's very important. If you're living in Vancouver, Canada, which is where I grew up, and the sky is always gray, wonderful. A steel cable is great because that's all you get. But maybe you live, I don't know, anywhere else in the world, And maybe you do get a blue sky. Why not get a blue Dyneema cable? Maybe this is going into some kind of a cabin in the woods. Get a green cable. There are 6 different colors to choose from, so you can really make it blend into the environment. Up to 160 inches in 16.9. We can do 1610, and we have a whole bunch of materials, whether you need ALR or you need your standard materials. So effectively, we have something for everyone on the motorized front. We also wanted to ensure that if your clients wanted something minimalistic or something that made a statement on the fixed front, we would also have that approach. But I would say that by far our most popular style is the Zero Edge Pro. Very sleek, very clean, and it's so minimalistic, but you can also do some really nice customization. If you want that pop of color, where we give you 7 powder-coated options to choose from, all done in-house, choose the 1.5-inch bezel. However, if you just want it to be super clean, super minimalistic, choose that 1/2-inch bezel. The first 1/2-inch on either one is wrapped in velvet, which is all done in-house. I mean, everything is custom made and it looks great, but also is designed to absorb any kind of overscan. So customize the front, customize the back. This is optional, but if you do want to get some backlighting, we can do either basic IR controlled backlighting, or if your clients have a Philips Hue bridge in their home, we can get this specified with Philips Hue lighting so you can really tailor it to the environment. Looks great and so much fun for sports and for movies, especially when you get things synced up. Now, here's the big one. The Zero Edge Pro can go massive, up to 220 inches on the diagonal and 16.9. It can be customized by the inch. We have 1610, and now we are introducing our ultra wide aspect ratios, 235:1, 240:1 for the dedicated movie watchers. Then, as you can see, the black diamond. There it is. The first time we're seeing it, only available on fixed frames. But of course, we have the short throw material if you need ALR there. We have white, we have gray, we have unity, tons of options on the Zero Edge Pro. But maybe your clients don't need all the customization. So we have the entry level, the Zero Edge. This will come with a 1/2-inch bezel as your choice. And it is not velvet, but brushed aluminum that's been painted, looks or powder coated, looks incredible. Then on the backlighting, we have IR controlled. For Philips Hue, that's on the Pro, but on the regular one, we give you the option of IR controlled backlighting. This can still get quite big, 205 inches on the diagonal. We still have a good amount of aspect ratios, but the big thing here, I'm sure you're sensing the theme at this point, ladies and gentlemen, only the white, only the gray. So if you're going into a dedicated media room, the Zero Edge is fine because we have the white and gray materials. However, if there is going to be light in the space, we really should be recommending the Zero Edge Pro because that has all of the ALR materials. And then finally, for people that just want that old school, old timey approach to the thick bezels, we have the 7, 5, and 3 series fixed. 3.5-inch velvet wrapped, all done beautifully in-house. And if you're getting the 7 series fixed, the only screen material choice is a black diamond. That's it. Black diamond, 7 series fixed. They are synonymous together. But a lot of people tend to go for the 5 series fixed because, I mean, what is there to say? It can go so big, so many aspect ratios, no black diamond, but every other material you can possibly think of. And then we have our 3 series fixed, which, as the theme goes, only the white and the gray. So across our lineup, we have the premium version that will have all the materials, including ALR. And then we have the entry-level version that will look similar, but only have the white and gray. We covered quite a bit, by the way, over the past 40 minutes. And I want to make sure that you feel confident knowing how to choose the right material. So this is where our screen material wizard is going to make your life incredibly simple. And everything is easily accessible directly from screeninnovations.com. Go to the top right corner for this hamburger menu. And then down here, we have the screen material wizard. This is what it looks like. If your client says there's going to be no light in the room at all, you don't need this because any material is going to work. However, if your clients even whisper that there is going to be any amount of light in the space, you have to do the screen material wizard. Here are the things that you need to make sure things are done properly. Number 1, have the unit of measure. inches or centimeters. Then the screen size, diagonal or the width, either is fine. Have the aspect ratio, have the projector lumens, and most importantly, have this, the ambient light in the screen in foot candles. This is so important that if you don't have a dedicated foot candle reading machine, make sure that if you have an iPhone device or an Android device, have a light meter. This is going to be critical in making sure things are done properly. So let's say that we go and specify a 110-inch screen, and then we have a 16:9 for everyday content. We have a 1500 lumen projector, and we take the reading, and there is 4 foot candles of light in the room. We know that everything highlighted in green is going to give your clients an amazing experience, because what we're looking for is a system contrast ratio of 30:1 or better. If it's 30:1 or better, this will give your clients the best experience. So the black diamond, the short throw, the slate 1.2 are going to be great. However, the slate 0.8 is 28:1. It's not to say this won't work, but it's slightly below what we want to provide your clients with. Keep in mind, the industry standard is about 17:1. So it is above what the industry is okay with, but our goal at SI is not the bare minimum. Let's give your clients the best performance possible. And the beauty is that if you take the foot candle reading and it ends up being something insane, there could be some situations where there's no material that's going to work. We'll always be honest. We'll never tell you that a material will work if it will not. That's why important to do all of this stuff. Get the projector, get the foot candles, get the aspect ratio, get the screen size, and then you can always choose the perfect material. Here's the minimum throw distance that we were talking about. That's how far you have to have the projector from the screen to get away from hot spotting. Take the half gain, multiply by 2. That is going to be your viewing cone. So all this is available in the screen material wizard. If you ever want to just kind of show one of your clients how easy to, or what screen it is, also in the top right corner hamburger menu, we have the screen builder. And from this point, you can go choose the material that you want or the form factor, and then it will take you through the options: screen ratio, diagonal, drop. Then down here, we have the schematics, the shipping dimensions, the material, the cassette color, this type of power, the type of operation, and it just takes you through step by step by step, and then gives you the retail cost down here. So very, very simple way to approach things. And with that, I want to make sure that you know that we're going to be running a promotion beginning March 14th, going through July 31st, called our Black Diamond Bucks, where we give you $250 off spiff for every black diamond sold. Of course, for more information, talk to our friends at Tecso, talk to us, and we will happily help you out. So in this very condensed presentation where we covered a lot of stuff, hopefully I got your wheels turning as to certain ways you can specify your stuff, find new opportunities, how to choose the right material, know the form factors, and use that screen material wizard. It'll take the guesswork out of choosing the right material every single time. And with that in mind, any questions at all in the chat? Anything in the Q&A?
Hi, Sasha. I think, let me check. I think right now your presentation was excellent. I think it was everything really good explained. And let's see.
Oscar, I was inspired by you. I saw your introduction. I thought I got to pull my weight as well. So you set the tone for me, my friend. Without you, none of this would be possible. You too, Sergio. Without your smiling face, I couldn't do this.
Thank you, Sasha.
Pleasure.
It was an excellent presentation, by the way.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you, Sasha.
Anytime.
And, you know, I just also want to reiterate the $250 spiff program. It'll be taken off right away when you place the order. So you will get that taken off immediately. So please talk to the Tecso team on the Black Diamond promo.
We have one question, but right now, maybe we'll have more questions. But let's see, it says that he has a new project with a monitor. He needs a big screen. Okay, so he's asking which is the biggest screen that you have that he's gonna have a project on a place that has a lot of illuminations.
Okay, is he looking for fixed or motorized?
I believe it's it's fixed because
Okay.
it's in a control room.
Okay, so we have our 220-inch slate XL. So 16 foot by 9 foot. We could do that in a fixed or 1610. I don't know if you need 16.9 or 1610, but I can do, that would be my largest.
Okay.
So that's a 220-inch diagonal or a 226-inch diagonal, depending on the ratio.
Okay.
And he can do that in fixed or zero edge.
I think that will be the fix it. Well, depend on the project, maybe.
Right,
I'm gonna say in Spanish.
and then right now we are also offering our 200-inch motorized screen with slate on it. So we have a 200-inch motorized slate in the 5 series.
Sí, aquí nos está
Yeah,
comentando.
yeah.
David, fix
So
it.
the fixed project, so you could do 16.9 or 16.10 foot screens for that project.
Aquí hay otra. I want to say in Spanish, sorry.
Okay.
Guys. Aunque le dice, buen día, ¿manejan pantallas motorizadas ascendentes? La respuesta es no. Igual, David, si luego nos puedes buscar ya sea a Cristian o a Eric o a un servidor para que podamos ver tu proyecto y bueno, y ver en qué más te podemos ayudar al respecto, ¿no? Y darte la mejor recomendación. ¿Alguna otra pregunta?
No, y creo que ya es hora de pasar a la siguiente sesión. Entonces, Sasha, Shannon, Helma, thank you so much for the presentation.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for having us. And of course, to everyone in the audience, we really appreciate your time. I know your time is valuable. Please, whatever you need within the legal extent of the law, we'll do whatever we can to help.
Yes, thank you guys for your support.
Thank you.
Have a
Thank you,
great day.
Shannon.
Thank you,
Helma,
everyone.
Bye, guys.
Sasha.
Have a
Thank you
great
very
day.
much.
Thank you
Have a
much.
good day. Bye.
You too.
Ok, continuamos con nuestra agenda. Excelente. Bueno, la siguiente presentación que tenemos de Rotel la hará Juan Pablo García. Él es gerente técnico LATAM de Polaris Controls. Cuenta con más de 18 años de experiencia como integrador y representante de ventas. Y bueno, gerente de cuenta para el área de Centroamérica, Suramérica y representa marcas como Sonance, iPort, Rotel, Rusound, Digital Projections, Nexus 21, Luxul, entre algunas otras. También Rafael nos estará por aquí acompañando, ya el día de ayer lo presentamos, ya los conocemos. Entonces, bueno, pues ahora sí que adelante con su presentación.
Muchísimas gracias, Oscar. Gracias, Sergio, por darnos la oportunidad de estar aquí con todos los integradores de México. Gracias, Rafa, también por acompañarnos. Buenos días a todos. Como les mencionó Oscar, mi nombre es Juan Pablo García, gerente técnico de Polaris Controls para Latinoamérica, y el día de hoy pues tengo el agrado de venir a conversar con ustedes sobre ciertos nuevos productos de de Rotel. Rotel, como lo conocen, voy a estar compartiendo mi pantalla. Rotel, para los que no lo conocen, el año pasado Rotel cumplió 60 años de existencia. Rotel es un fabricante japonés que se ha enfocado o se enfocó en un inicio en hacer manufactura a otras marcas y hace 60 años inició en el concepto de su marca propia, siempre teniendo un diseño o un concepto balanceado entre diseño y performance o especificaciones desde el punto de vista de audio. La agenda de hoy vamos a tratar 3 puntos directamente. Lo primero es nuestra nueva gama de productos Mark II, sobre los cuales venimos desde un entry level en amplificadores integrados hasta nuestra línea Michi, que es nuestra línea de alta gama. Y por último, tocar un tema bastante importante que creemos hoy en día desde el punto de vista de mejora en cuanto a la reproducción de audio en audio distribuido. Rotel, para los que no lo conocen o no lo sabían, también tenemos amplificadores de audio distribuido y es pronto una de las líneas que estaremos manejando directamente con Tecso. Así que vamos a entrar rápidamente a hacer un breve resumen de 3 amplificadores integrados Mark II que están realmente enfocados en el segmento de 2 canales de audio Hi-Fi. El primero en nuestra serie A, nuestro entry level, con el A14 Mark II. Este A14 utiliza cierta tecnología de Michi y de la serie Tribute, tanto en su DAC como en su fuente de poder. Con la versión anterior no tenemos cambios de entradas y salidas, sin embargo sí se removió la funcionalidad de DSD en la entrada del puerto PSB-USB. Uno de los factores más interesantes que tenemos en este nuevo amplificador es la compatibilidad que tenemos con archivos MQA y MQA Studio, teniendo la capacidad entonces de poder reproducir cualquier fuente Tidal Masters en su mayor alta resolución. También es Room Tested, no es Room Certified, pero sí es Room Tested y de hecho hemos hecho ya algunas pruebas validando esto. Es un amplificador integrado que maneja 2 canales a 150 watts de potencia, tomando en cuenta que es una amplificación de clase AB. Para los que tenemos ya algunos años o se dedican en el segmento de audio Hi-Fi, pues sabemos acústicamente y sónicamente diferenciar esta clase de amplificadores análogos por su excepcional calidad en la reproducción. Tiene de fábrica ya una entrada preamplificada para poder conectar tocadiscos con cartuchos MC o Moving Magnet, MM o Moving Magnet. Tiene un receptor Bluetooth aptX de alta resolución y un DAC de 32 bits 384 kHz. De momento, Rotel no tiene en esta línea algún dispositivo que nos permita hacer streaming. Sin embargo, nos conectamos contra cualquiera de estas fuentes, teniendo la capacidad de conectarlo ya sea por USB, digital o análogo. De preferencia, si lo utilizamos en digital o USB, para gozar de la característica de este conversor, de este DAC de Texas Instruments. Tenemos el hermano mediano en la serie RA, ya por nuestra serie 15. Para los que recuerdan, esta serie de RA más o menos inició en la serie 10 de Rotel. Esto con un amplificador clase AB de 120 watts, 200 watts a 4 ohmios. Comparándolo con su versión anterior, el RA 1572, tenemos realmente una mejora sónica en la profundidad, detalles, pero principalmente en el stage de audio. Para algunos de los integradores el año pasado que nos pudieron acompañar en unos demos que hicimos en Ciudad de Miami, tuvieron la oportunidad de escuchar estos equipos y realmente algo que caracteriza a Rotel en su amplificación, esa generación del stage, principalmente con un par de buenas bocinas del segmento Hi-Fi. No tenemos cambios en entradas y salidas y al igual que su antecesor se removió la función DSD, pero se adicionó esta capacidad o esta compatibilidad para decodificar archivos MQA y MQA Studio. Para los que no conocen estos archivos, les recomiendo se puedan conversar con la gente directa de Tecso o Rafael Sañudo, nuestro representante de ventas en México, ya que realmente es una de las mejores fuentes de audio digital hoy en día en streaming, que principalmente funciona en el servicio de Tidal, más conocido como Tidal Masters, para todos estos archivos digitales MQA. Luego tenemos ya al hermano más grande, el 1592 Mark II, con una amplificación clase AB de 200 watts o 350 watts a 4 ohmios. Cabe recalcar que estos amplificadores no son estables a 2, por consiguiente no podemos adicionar más de una bocina por canal en el caso de un parlante de 4 ohmios. Tenemos las mismas mejoras, cambios y diferenciaciones con su versión anterior que el 1572, teniendo entonces la ventaja contra los dos antecesores de la resolución del DAC, ya teniendo un DAC de 32 bits y 384 kilohertz. Igual que las dos versiones anteriores, no contamos con servicio de streaming, pero sí las entradas para tornamesa o tocadiscos, al igual que el Bluetooth aptX en alta resolución. Así que estos son nuestros 3 nuevos amplificadores integrados para soluciones de audio hi-fi o audio de 2 canales. Y con esto damos entrada a nuestra serie Michi. Realmente la serie Michi, algunos lo consideran una serie dentro de Rotel, pero realmente es una marca como tal. Se enfoca más allá del audio hi-fi, entramos ya en la categoría de alta gama. Michi inició en 1995 con estos 3 equipos que ustedes pueden ver en pantalla. Y hoy venimos a presentarles 3 amplificadores integrados. Estos son los 2 primeros amplificadores integrados de la serie Michi, que realmente se caracterizan por tener esta evolución sónica, acústica, pero principalmente por esta perfección visual, tomando así nuestra filosofía de ese diseño balanceado o ese concepto de diseño balanceado entre audio, estética y performance. Tenemos entonces el primer amplificador integrado de la serie Michi, el X3. Este es un amplificador clase AB en el cual todas las etapas de amplificación para los 2 canales son completamente separadas, desde la entrada, fuentes de poder, etc. Tenemos 350 watts a 4 ohmios y 200 watts a 8 ohmios, con entradas análogas, digitales, USB, una entrada XLR balanceada y al mismo tiempo una entrada para tornamesa con cartucho Moving Magnet. El DAC es probablemente hoy en día uno de los mejores DACs en el mercado, el AKM de 32 bits, 768 kilohertz, básicamente duplicando el sample rate o la frecuencia de muestreo en este DAC que en las versiones de Rotel. Aquí sí tenemos un soporte para DSD o DOP y al igual tenemos un Bluetooth aptX o AAC de Apple. Este nuevo amplificador X3 mantiene el mismo diseño clásico que los equipos separados de Michi, el P5 y el S5, pero realmente se caracterizan y ustedes pueden ver aquí en su esquina superior derecha la manufactura de Michi. Algo que nos identifica dentro del segmento de audio alta gama y hi-fi, tanto Rotel como Michi, es que recuerden que Rotel es fabricante de sus propios componentes electrónicos. Es decir, nosotros fabricamos nuestros transformadores, fabricamos nuestros capacitores, nuestras resistencias, nuestras etapas de potencia. No al 100%, pero sí la electrónica principal. Eso el día de hoy nos trae múltiples ventajas desde el punto de vista obviamente técnico y de audio. Sin embargo, también hoy que estamos sufriendo con este problema de logística a nivel mundial, nos posiciona como una de las fábricas que mantenemos stock y apoyando a Tecso, nuestro distribuidor en México, a poder tener equipos para ustedes en sus proyectos y sus clientes. Así que eso es muy, muy importante. Algo también que traen todos los amplificadores Michi y el X3 en su versión básica, no es la excepción, es que tienen 2 sets de postes para poder hacer instalaciones by wire en audio de alta gama. Estos postes están bañados de rodio, lo cual es un material altamente conductivo, no corrosivo, lo cual nos permite entregarle toda la potencia directo al cable para poder transmitirlo a la bocina. Aquí podemos ver, para los que no conocen, la diferenciación. Obviamente hay mucha polémica, habrán algunos aquí que consideran que esto tiene ventajas, algunos considerarán que tiene desventajas. Sin embargo, la serie Michi ofrece esta capacidad. Una conexión simple, sabemos que la mayoría de bocinas o parlanterías de alta gama o de audio hi-fi normalmente traen dos sets o dos postes de conexión. El primero exclusivamente para la parte de los altos y el segundo exclusivamente para la parte de medios y bajos. A la izquierda podemos ver una conexión simple donde salimos del amplificador. Recuerden conectar siempre al set de posts de frecuencias bajas y medias. Y generalmente las bocinas traen un jumper, o bien podemos hacer un jumper entre la conexión de los postes de frecuencias altas o el tweeter. Lo que recomendamos tradicionalmente es hacer una conexión by wire. Tecso tiene unos sets de cables muy buenos para este tipo de conexiones. Es hacer una conexión by wire. Es la capacidad de poder diferenciar desde el amplificador la canalización de frecuencias altas y bajas, a manera que no haya un crosstalk, etcétera, dentro de esas conexiones. Entonces, el amplificador de la serie X3 posee entonces ya estas características. Tenemos entonces ya al hermano mayor en nuestros amplificadores integrados. Recuerden, si estamos evaluando solo los amplificadores integrados, no estamos viendo los amplificadores separados. Si tienen alguna duda con respecto a estos amplificadores, con gusto se pueden comunicar con nosotros. El X5 ya tenemos 600 watts a 4 ohmios. Esto tiene ya entonces la capacidad de mover floor standings de alta capacidad. 350 watts a 8 ohmios, con las mismas características que su antecesor, con la capacidad de que en este amplificador X5 ya tenemos un full rendering en hardware de MQA, es decir, podemos decodificar completo en hardware, ya no necesitamos ni siquiera la etapa de software de Tidal Masters, sino este equipo tiene la capacidad de poder hacer la decodificación completa. De igual manera tiene su entrada preamplificada para tornamesa con cartucho Moving Magnet. Una de las ventajas de este equipo en el panel frontal es un ecualizador gráfico de 12 bandas que podemos ir viendo al compás de la música, pues valga la redundancia esta parte en la ecualización. Pero realmente el X5 yo les podría decir que es probablemente uno de los top 3 amplificadores integrados en esta categoría, y los invito a que puedan comunicarse con nosotros y Tecso porque realmente es un amplificador con una capacidad muy, muy grande. Aquí pueden ver cómo tenemos la separación completa de los dos canales. Cada uno de los transformadores o su fuente de poder por completo por separado, con transformadores de 88,000 microfaradios que realmente nos dan la capacidad de poder entregar la energía de una manera inmediata en el desempeño principalmente de los bajos. Como lo pueden ver, toda la electrónica es marca Michi, manufacturada por nosotros, y de igual manera que el X3 tenemos la capacidad de poder hacer una conexión by wire. Aquí está entonces, en resumen, ambos tienen la capacidad de poderlos integrar con sistemas de terceros. Tenemos drivers en Crestron y en los principales sistemas de integración, a manera de que puedan entonces integrarlo a sistemas por medio de RC232 o Ethernet. Si tienen pues cualquier duda o quieren conocer más de la serie Michi, recuérdense comunicarse con Tecso o bien con nosotros en Polaris Controls. Y por último, como les mencioné, creo algo de una categoría que suena muy interesante para este 2022, y es poder mejorar el audio distribuido en nuestros proyectos. Para nosotros en Rotel, realmente esto ha sido un caballo de batalla en los últimos años, que realmente en el segmento de audio distribuido cada vez más el cliente final requiere una mejor reproducción de audio. Estos amplificadores son perfectos para poder trabajar con bocinas, por ejemplo, de Sonance, donde podemos ayudarlos a hacer diseños y match espectaculares. ¿Y por qué? 2 de nuestros 3 amplificadores para audio distribuido son de clase AB. Creo yo que hoy la gran mayoría, si no más del 90% de los amplificadores que encontramos en el mercado de audio distribuido son todos de clase digital. Y no quiere decir que los amplificadores de clase digital no sean buenos, pero todos conocemos la capacidad de reproducción de un amplificador de tipo AB. El primero, el 1504, mi favorito. Un amplificador de 2 canales, 70 watts a 8 ohms, completamente AB, con capacidad de poderlo instalar en rack y todas las necesidades funcionales para integración de un sistema de audio distribuido con trigger o con detección de audio para un encendido automático. El siguiente, el 1506, que son 6 canales por 50 watts, todo clase AB y con las mismas capacidades de integración e instalación que el 1504. Y por último, y los invito realmente a que puedan observar esto, nosotros tenemos estadísticas en cuanto a precio y costo por canal y este probablemente es uno de los mejores amplificadores en el mercado, que es el 12 por 100. En algunas otras marcas generalmente manejamos el 1250, por ahí de 50 watts, el más conocido, pero si requieren un poquito de más potencia, tenemos el 12 por 100. Este sí es un amplificador digital clase D, muy competitivo en el mercado y como les menciono, pronto trabajando con Tecso para poder tener estas 3 opciones en México. Cualquier recurso que ustedes necesiten para marketing, para algún cliente final como fotografías en alta resolución, especificaciones, catálogos de productos, etcétera, se pueden comunicar con nosotros en Polaris Controls o Tecso. Recuerden también que la página web de Rotel está tanto en inglés, tanto en español. Y al igual los invito a que nos puedan seguir en nuestras 3 plataformas de redes sociales como Rotel Hi-Fi, tanto en Facebook, Instagram y en YouTube. Así que no sé si hay algunas dudas con relación a Rotel y estas 3 fascinantes series de productos.
Hola Juan Pablo, muchísimas gracias por esta presentación, por este paso. Y sí, hay muchas preguntas, Sergio, ¿puedo hacer las preguntas para
Adelante,
darle
sí,
seguimiento?
de hecho, si quieres, si te sientes muy cansado, pues hago la siguiente pregunta.
Perfecto, nos vamos una y una. Nos preguntan, Juan Pablo, que si hay alguna aplicación de celular para poder manejar los amplificadores integrados de Rotel.
Hay una aplicación, la verdad, bastante básica. Como les digo, tanto la serie Michi como la serie A o RA no tienen un servicio streaming integrado. Entonces, realmente la aplicación enciende, apaga y tiene un control de volumen o switcheo de fuentes. Es bastante básica. ¿Verdad? Principalmente está orientado más a que lo podamos trabajar con algún sistema de integración. Sin embargo, Rafa y Sergio, pues creo que hay sorpresas para este 2022 y no lo escucharon, pero por ahí se viene tal vez algo con algún sistema de streaming integrado.
Es correcto eso, y justamente...
no escuchamos nada.
No escucharon nada.
Ampliando un poquito la pregunta de si existe una aplicación de Rotel, sí existe, pero solamente está disponible para Estados Unidos en este momento. Nosotros tratamos de bajarla desde mi dispositivo móvil, que es un iPhone, con cuenta de iTunes mexicana o de Apple Store mexicana, y no lo permite. Tienes que tener una cuenta casada en Estados Unidos para poderla bajar.
¿Sí?
Siguiente pregunta, Sergio.
Sí, bueno, ¿en dónde fabrican los equipos Michi?
Bueno, esa es una interesante pregunta y es precisamente algo que nos digamos, enorgullecemos. Todo es fabricado completamente en Japón. Y esa es una de las ventajas y como mencioné, no solo es el ensamblaje del equipo, sino también fabricamos nuestros propios componentes internos. Es súper interesante cómo ver ellos agarran el material en RAW y construimos los transformadores, capacitores. Entonces los invito a que si tienen, digamos, duda con eso, incluso en la página web tenemos un segmento ahí, en el canal de YouTube hay ciertos videos cómo hacen el embobinado de los transformadores, Pero eso nos pone en una posición muy ventajosa, ¿verdad, Sergio? Y es el hecho de que tenemos capacidad de poder responder con mayor facilidad y rapidez ante la demanda del mercado, ¿verdad? Y hoy en día, con estos problemas de logística que todos conocemos, eso realmente nos ha posicionado en un buen segmento.
Así es.
Correcto, exactamente. Y recordar que Rotel no solamente tiene su fábrica de ensamblaje en Japón para el equipo de Michi, Rotel posee sus propias fábricas en China, o sea, no contrata una OEM o una empresa que le manufactura las piezas, sino ellos tienen sus propias fábricas en China. Entonces, esa es la calidad que tiene con Rotel.
Y hoy en día ya no fabricamos para terceros, ¿verdad? Sí. Inició Rotel de esa forma, pero hoy en día ya no fabricamos para nadie más que Rotel y Michi.
Exactamente. Tenemos otra pregunta aquí. Nos preguntan que si Michi va a tener un super audio CD.
Bueno, realmente la parte de super audio CD nunca terminó de despegar. Sí tenemos capacidad para hacer cierta reproducción de formatos de audio en alta resolución. Y sí manejamos. Es decir, tenemos unos CD players Mark II. Si quieres te podemos ampliar más información, Rafa. Tal vez si me ayudas ahí a tomar el contacto a la persona que nos está haciendo esta pregunta.
Es con nuestro amigo Miguel Senra.
Miguel, ¿cómo estás? Buenas tardes, saludos hasta allá a Veracruz. Pero sí, definitivamente sí tenemos, incluso tenemos versiones Mark II de 3 de nuestros principales CD players.
Correcto, perfecto. ¿Otra, Sergio?
Sí. Bueno, aquí nos preguntan que en los modelos ABR, bueno, en específico el RAP 1580, dice cuando se pone en formato de estéreo 5.1, que no suena el sub, y con las versiones anteriores sí se podía. Pues es que ahorita estamos en el RAP 1580 MK2 y anteriormente pues nomás era RAP 1580. ¿no? Esto que sí se va a poder en algún momento. No sé si es un problema de configuración, Juan.
Yo creería que es un problema de configuración. Probablemente están configurados las bocinas frontales en large o como un full range speaker y eso hace que salga, digamos, la reproducción de bajos por ahí, pero con mucho gusto lo podemos ver o comunicarnos con el integrador, pero es muy probablemente la manera en cómo están configurados los canales frontales.
Eso ya lo habíamos checado, es también pregunta de nuestro amigo Bruno Belsazo, que pasamos el caso y que justamente contactamos a Rotel para eso. No es que tenga un problema de configuración, el equipo está bien configurado, la fuente está bien configurada, no importa que sea YouTube directamente desde un Apple TV. Lo que pasa es que cambiaron el sistema, ya no es un multichannel. Un multichannel lo que hacía es que todas las bocinas sonaban con un sonido exactamente igual de presión sonora y también el buffer le mandaban las frecuencias de graves. Ahora, este nuevo sistema que tiene, como es más grado audiófilo, justamente para eso está diseñado, el estéreo 5.1 significa que solamente van a sonar las 5 bocinas y cada una de esas 5 bocinas va a tener un sonido de rango de acuerdo a donde esté posicionado. Entonces, esa es la diferencia entre un sistema estéreo 5.1 y un multichannel. Lamentablemente, Rotel decidió irse por la opción 5.1 estéreo y dejó de plano la configuración de multichannel. Tenemos otra pregunta acá, que si existe algún accesorio de calibración para los sistemas ABR. Accesorio creo que no hay dentro de la caja, pero sí existe su propio sistema de
hecho,
o sea, se refiere al micrófono para calibrar los monitores. ¿no?
Sí, de hecho, realmente el RAP 1580 Mark II, al igual que nuestro procesador preamplificado, una de las grandes ventajas competitivas que tiene este equipo versus cualquier otro en el mercado es su proceso de autocalibración, ya que nosotros contamos con un licenciamiento Dirac Live para poder hacer toda la ecualización. Tiene un corrector acústico embebido de Dirac, lo cual nos va a garantizar que la reproducción y separación de los canales es de la mejor manera posible. En el manual hay un proceso, digamos, te explica cómo es el proceso de esta calibración con Dirac Live, así que con mucho gusto te podemos enviar la información para este proceso.
Y también pregunta aquí que se refiere justamente a la amplificación de Michi en cuanto a la calibración ajuste de cuarto de escucha. Realmente ahí no tienes, o sea, no requieres una calibración porque es un sonido estéreo. Entonces el sonido estéreo no requiere una calibración de cuarto. Puedes tú tener una configuración de graves, medios y agudos en ecualización, pero no es una calibración per se.
Sí, precisamente, como menciona Rafa, en el audio estéreo, obviamente lo que buscamos, bueno, de la misma manera que un teatro en casa, pero siempre lo que buscamos es que la reproducción de todas las frecuencias en el punto de escucha sea totalmente flat, ¿no? De que todas las frecuencias se escuchen al mismo nivel de potencia, de decibeles. Esto con el objetivo de poder reproducir la grabación lo más fielmente posible. Existen hoy por hoy muchas, digamos, formas de poderlo calibrar. Incluso hay aplicaciones en el teléfono que te permiten hacer un barrido de frecuencia. Sin embargo, lo que nosotros sugerimos siempre, pues hay algunas aplicaciones muy buenas, pero recomendamos hacerlo con un micrófono externo, ya sea en una computadora o en un iPad o iPhone, hacerlo con un micrófono externo. Hay muy buenos micrófonos, de hecho que los puedes conseguir en Amazon por debajo de $100, que traen una calibración, un certificado de calibración de audio y te permiten entonces realmente tener un buen barrido de frecuencias y que ya puedas ecualizar. Acuérdate, los dos Michis integrados tienen un ecualizador de paramétrico de 10 bandas, entonces realmente podemos balancear en el sweet spot para que todas las frecuencias se escuchen lo más flat posible.
Sí, justamente aquí Enrique nos amplía, dice, Ante maneja equipos estéreo prácticamente iguales en diseño, pero incluyen un micrófono de calibración y un software propietario de ARC. Sí, Anthem lo hace de esa forma, ¿por qué? Porque Anthem es una marca canadiense de mucha calidad también, y ellos estuvieron trabajando junto con el gobierno de Canadá para sacar un proyecto que se llamó Proyecto Diana. Este proyecto fue justamente para crear una calibración estéreo que sea más puntual directamente y cuando le quieres colocar un buffer por separado. De hecho, Anthem, Martin Logan y Paradigm tienen su propia sala acústica, tiene un nombre especial. Se me fue el nombre de la sala. Juan Pablo, ¿me ayudas?
La cámara, sí, va a recordar el nombre también.
Se me fue totalmente. Es una cámara 100% acústica y sonora, en donde ahí prueban todos sus equipos, por eso tienen esa capacidad, porque fueron patrocinados y sponsораdos por el gobierno de Canadá.
Sin embargo, Rafa, Michi está orientado a la alta gama, ¿ok? Entonces no es audio hi-fi, sino es, vamos a decir, un pasito arriba. Y obviamente en ese pasito arriba, nunca dejamos a una autocalibración. Eso de autocalibración en un equipo de esta categoría no existe. Esto tú lo puedes ecualizar by the books, es decir, todas las frecuencias totalmente flat o al gusto propio, digamos, de cada uno, pero no lo existe, ¿verdad?
Exactamente. Tenemos más preguntas, pero Sergio, no sé si tengamos más tiempo.
Sí, tenemos ya escasos menos de 5 minutos, pero bueno, a ver.
Ok,
Pablo,
este es para ti, Sergio.
¿Vamos a tener stock en México, algún producto demo? Sí.
Ok, perfecto.
Además llegue y saquemos todo el tema de las NOMs. Luego, ¿qué distancia recomiendan dejar entre amplificadores e instalaciones en rack?
Pero ¿qué tipo de instalación?
Sí, esto probablemente estamos tal vez hablando del audio distribuido.
Yo creo que se refiere el espacio entre amplificadores dentro del rack.
¿Cuántos amplificadores puedes stackear dentro de un rack?
No, la distancia que recomienda. Haz de cuenta que si tú tienes 2 amplis, ¿qué distancia debe de separación? Pues
los amplificadores,
rack, ¿no? 2 unidades.
Correcto, a pesar de que los amplificadores de audio distribuido de Rotel, digamos los 3 que vimos, tienen realmente su ventilación, es activa, pero tienen ventilación frontal, siempre recomendado, sobre todo los amplificadores en los 2 clase AB. Al ser análogos, realmente calientan, ¿sí? E incluso yo me atrevería a decirte que 1 o 2 unidades, uno el mínimo, siempre. No podemos tenerlo porque sí, principalmente en los amplificadores que son análogos, clase AB.
También preguntan aquí,
¿se puede colocar el rack en rack, el RAT 1580.
Sí, por supuesto.
Sí, claro.
Y mejor si lo controlan con Crestron y ya tienen un sistema de integración completo para que tengan su pantalla en el cine y el amplificador home theater procesador en el área de rack.
Y luego aquí se ve realmente, bueno, interesante. Muchas gracias, ¿no? Se ven realmente interesantes estos productos. Habrá que escucharlos, pues siempre se consigue una experiencia de gran sensación, ¿sí? Bueno, nosotros les avisamos cuando tengamos ya listo el demo, pues los invitamos para que los vean, los escuchen, ¿no?
También preguntan aquí, por último, la serie Michi, ¿cuándo estará disponible? ¿Cuándo pueden ofrecerla al público? ¿Ya está disponible desde
Ya está
Rotel?
disponible.
Exactamente. Sí. Y por último, Sergio, si me permites, antes de que terminemos, tenemos una taza de Michi, justamente. Esta la vamos a rifar en el chat justamente ahorita. La primera persona que nos conteste qué te parece la pregunta, ¿de qué están bañados los conectores de los amplificadores? ¿Se acuerdan?
Los Michi X3 y X5.
Michi.
Exactamente. ¿De qué están bañados los
Ya
conectores?
tengo aquí una respuesta. Oro.
No, equivocado.
No, equivocadísimo.
Ahí está,
Rodio.
Mauricio Pacheco. Mauricio Pacheco, el
Rodio.
ganador de Rodio.
Aquí está. ¿Mauricio Pacheco fue el ganador?
Sí.
Perfecto. Se la mandamos a Carla y Carla, ¿nos ayudas a mandársela a Mauricio Pacheco, donde quiera que esté en la Ciudad de México o en la República Mexicana?
Sí, claro que sí.
Listo,
Gracias,
muchísimas gracias.
Muchísimas gracias, Sergio, y a todo el equipo de Tecso, a Carla también, que sabemos que está con una ardua labor detrás de bambalinas, así que muchísimas gracias, Tecso, por la oportunidad de abrirnos este espacio. Recuérdense, pues estamos a sus órdenes, Rafael o mi persona o el resto del equipo también de Polaris Controls, por cualquier duda que puedan tener sobre Rotel. Muchas gracias y que sigan disfrutando aquí del Tecsoluciones 2022.
Gracias, Juan. Gracias, Rafa. Pues muchas gracias a todos, ¿no? Nos vemos el día de mañana a partir de las 9 de la mañana y que tengan muy buen día, muy buena semana también. Muchas gracias. Saludos a todos.